Hi Internet, in this video I will be going over 20 reasons you might be in debt, as well as include tips to get out of debt using the first 20 examples. So I do have these written down on Google Drive, so I will be looking at my screen every now and then. So the first reason you're in debt is that you're probably living above your means. Um, Pro tip, track spending for 30 days and just cut one or two non essential categories. Like, for example, cutting out getting your nails done every 2 weeks. Instead, do your own nails or just get your nails done once a month instead of twice a month. The second reason you might be in debt is that there might be some impulsive decision making going on or a lack of self control. A tip for this one would be to use a 24 to 48-hour rule before any non essential purchases. Um, I am on my no buy year, but I think if there's something that I really want and like 3 months have gone by and I keep thinking about that one item, then I know that it's okay to buy it. So even though I'm on my no buy year, um, I would like to treat myself every now and then. So I've also heard people say 72-hour rule instead of 24 or 48. It just gives you more time to make your decision on whether or not to spend money on something. The third reason you might be in debt is that you don't have a budget. So, the first thing to do would be to start with a simple three category budget: your needs, your wants, and your savings. So, yeah, those would be the three budget categories to start with. And then, number four, the fourth reason you're in debt is that you rely way too much on credit cards. And the pro tip for this would be to switch to either debit or cash for daily spending to feel the impact. So, personally, I always try to carry between $10 and $20 on days that I don't plan to buy anything, just in case, um, for emergencies or, I need to get a cab, something like that happens. And it's also in a way going to de-influence you from shopping, right? If you're putting your debit card information on a website, you're more likely to be like asking yourself, is this a good purchase? Is it worth making this purchase on this website for this particular thing? The fifth reason you're in debt is unexpected emergencies like medical payments, um, car related things like maybe you need to get a new tire, things like that. And the tip I have for this one is to build a small emergency fund. So whenever you get paid or whenever you have your income come in, try to put $5 to $10 each time. I've heard that it's best to have a 6-month emergency fund. For a lot of people, that's around $10,000. But it might vary. And then the sixth reason you are in debt is low income or job loss. And the tip I have for this is to focus on stabilizing income first, even if it's like gig work or something temporary, before tackling a debt aggressively. The seventh reason you might be in debt is high interest rates. The tip I have for this is to call creditors and ask for a lower rate or consider balance transfers. This one can be a little bit more tricky. I've never done a balance transfer myself, but I highly recommend looking into them if you have multiple credit cards and you are knee deep in debt. The eighth reason you might be in debt is the minimum payments trap. So you always want to pay more than the minimum, even an extra $10 will help. And the ninth reason is a lack of financial education. So I would recommend to learn at least one concept per week, whether it's budgeting, interest, credit scores. Although my channel is not a financial channel, I still like making these essay videos from time to time. Um, but I'm not a financial advisor. I highly recommend looking into those who have a background in finance. And I think YouTube is a great place for that, but you also want to cross reference some of the concepts on places like investopedia.com. And the 10th reason you're in debt is lifestyle inflation. This is what happens when your income rises and suddenly you're spending more. So you get a bigger flat, a nicer car. So pro tip for this would be to lock in savings increases before upgrading lifestyle. So save more before you spend and upgrade different parts of your life. The 11th reason is supporting others financially. And my tip for this would be to set boundaries. So you want to set a clear monthly limit for helping others. I know there are people out there who donate 10% to their religious institution, for example. And there are people who donate to shelters and things like that, but you want to set a clear limit for that. And that's where budgeting comes from. I would say that's under the want, the want category. And the 12th reason would be emotional spending. Sometimes when we're sad, stressed, or bored, we tend to spend in order to feel a little bit better. And the tip for this would be to replace the habit, right? You can start journaling, you can walk. Personally, I play video games. I don't always want to go shopping. The 13th reason you might be in debt is peer pressure or trying to keep up with the Joneses. And my tip for this would be to either unfollow or mute accounts that trigger comparison. So if you're constantly comparing yourself to a content creator, you're going to end up buying things that they have, thinking that it'll work for you or somehow your life will be better. Highly recommend looking into not lifestyle inflation. Fantasy self. I might have mentioned this in a previous video, but sometimes when we see someone we can look up to and we see what they have, we want what they have. So, because we think it'll make life better. And the 14th reason you might be in debt is subscriptions and small reoccurring charges. I've watched a couple of Caleb Hammer's videos. He's hilarious online, and he basically goes through like people's monthly credit card statements, and he'll highlight and scream at the guest for spending like $5 on an energy drink at a supermarket. Now, I don't appreciate all the yelling that happens in those videos, but Caleb is smart and funny. So if you disagree, that's fine. But my point is the small charges do add up into bigger payments, and they're really sneaky charges. So my tip would be to do a monthly audit and cancel anything that's unused. So if you don't use your Netflix or whatever streaming platform there is out there, just every month, just look at your reoccurring charges and cancel anything that you don't use or that doesn't add any value to your life. The 15th reason you might be in debt is poor planning for irregular expenses. And my tip for this would be to create sinking funds for things like holidays or car repairs. Now, that would be under the needs budget. And one YouTube creator that I really like is, I'm trying to remember her name. I think it's Layla. Debt Over It, DEBT Over It. She has a personal finance channel on YouTube, and the way she organizes her budgets on a monthly basis is really, really helpful if you're looking into that. I'm going to link her channel in the description below. But she does talk about sinking funds. This is also something you can research on your own. It's basically things that I don't want to say it's kind of like a liability, but it's something that is just, you're never going to get anything back from it. It's not an investment, it's just a sinking fund. And the 16th reason you might be in debt is you're using debt for non-essential items. And my tip for this would be to only use credit for planned or necessary expenses. The 17th reason you might be in debt is a lack of savings habits. And my tip for you would be to automate even small, tiny savings so it happens without thinking. My 18th reason that you might be in debt is major life changes. And my tip for this would be to rebuild your finances from scratch, new budget, new priorities. And my 19th reason that you might be in debt is student loans without a clear repayment plan. So if you're just letting them accrue interest. My tip for you would be to explore income-driven repayment or financing options. And the last reason you might be in debt is ignoring the problem or just like avoiding it. Avoiding the debt, pretending it's not there. My tip for this would be to face the numbers once and write down your total debt to reduce anxiety and make a plan. Sometimes we have to know what we're up against in order to build a good defense, right? And to protect yourself. But yeah, those are the 20 reasons that I thought over. I hope this was helpful, and I'll see you guys later.